Hello everybody, my name is Alex and today we are going to be ranking Civilization 6 on all 5 platforms that it's on. So it obviously started on PC, it's also on iOS, then went to Switch, and then it appeared on the Xbox and PlayStation 4. So I played this game on 3 platforms and played it quite substantially on 3 platforms. So they are the PC, Switch and Xbox. But I've read a lot and also had lots of people tell me in the comments of my videos about how the game works on PlayStation and iOS. So I know a fair bit about it on all these platforms. I know what features they have. I'm aware of the bugs, if they have bugs, etc, etc. So I thought I'd rank it on what I think today. So we're going to start with doing that. And then at the end of the video as well, I'm going to just do a little bit of a quick chat on which platforms complement others and stuff like that. So let's start off with what is 5th on our list. So in at number 5 it is the iOS port of this game, which I kind of feel really mean for doing. I think it's quite harsh, but there are reasons. Now the iOS port I'm not saying is a bad port of this game, because it's not. It's pretty crazy that this game could actually be on mobile phones or an iPad. It's just mad. But there are lots of positive points to it being on iOS. The biggest one for me is just the ease in which you can play Civ 6. To just whip it out on your mobile and be able to play it, the portability and ease of access to that is absolutely fantastic. So I do love that. Also, you know, it's got the big features of the PC game. Yes, you're sort of missing the world builder and online multiplayer, but the standard game is there, and it's pretty much a full Civ experience, but in your pocket, which is obviously very, very good and also quite surprising. Controls wise, things seem to be decent as well. You do use your touchscreen a lot, which, although is the closest thing to mouse and keyboard I guess you could have, can be a little bit fiddly, but overall it's definitely a solid enough port when it comes to that. However, there are drawbacks. Although on the whole, reviews suggest that the game runs pretty well, especially in the early game and especially on newer, more powerful devices. If you are using a bit of an old device, and it can get a bit buggy. I mean, as the game progresses, obviously there's more and more going on. Your phone or your device is being asked more and more of, and that has led to people saying that this game can get buggy in the later game. Which is understandable, but obviously still a little bit of a drawback when you are comparing devices. Another thing I saw was people saying that they get so far into their game and there seems to actually be a game crashing bug, a game ending bug, which means that you can't go back to your saved game, you can't progress further with your saved game, which obviously means that, I mean, can you imagine? I'm a Civ player, I've played lots of games, that would do my head in. The last thing you want to do when you're so immersed in a Civ game is lose it. That's pretty devastating, so obviously that has to count against it as well. Overall, the game apparently can be quite buggy, but that is something we've seen with all the ports of Civ 6, whether that be to Switch, Xbox or PS4 or iOS. I'll talk about it as the video progresses, but it can be a bit buggy. A pretty solid port, but sadly does have a few drawbacks. But if you do love the portability and the ease of access of using it on your mobile phone, definitely worth doing a bit more research into it. So in at number 4, it is the Nintendo Switch version of the game. Again, I sort of feel harsh putting it this low. I definitely think the Switch version could have been at least one step up, but this is where I made my final decision with it. So the pros and cons for the Switch version are very similar to those with the iOS. Obviously, the big pro with anything gaming related on the Nintendo Switch is that if you desire, you can use it portably. So you can take it on the train with you, you can take it wherever, so it doesn't just have to be attached to the TV to play, which I think is pretty immense and obviously one of the biggest strengths of the Nintendo Switch. But obviously there are trade-offs. So just as with the iOS, the Switch is a less powerful device than some of the others on this list. So visually, the game is not as good. There are quite a few bugs with this version of the game, and also it doesn't run as smooth towards the end of the game. Now I've played the Switch version to the end game. It's definitely playable, but it can, you know, you can really start to feel that the system being pushed when you get to the end of a reasonably sized game. And that's apparently, as I keep getting told in my comments, something which has only got worse since the update at the end of last year where Rise and Fall and Gathering Storm became available. So if you are playing with the expansions, then do expect that the Switch version in a big game could struggle a little bit. So what puts this version ahead of the iOS version of the game? Well, there are a couple of things. I'll talk about a few of them now. So, being able to dock the Nintendo Switch is obviously a bonus, although I love the fact that on a mobile phone or on an iPad that has iOS obviously, you can, just casually play this game. I love that fact with the Switch too, the portability, but having that ability to dock your Switch and then sort of just transfer and get it on the telly, play it on a bigger screen, have a different look at it, is obviously appealing as well. Civilization on the whole is a game where there's a lot going off, so having it on a big screen can tend to be quite useful and a good way to play it. So the ability to switch between those two is nice, obviously. Controls wise as well, I feel like I'd prefer the Switch version. Although both the Switch and iOS devices have touchscreen, I find they can be quite fiddly. I like the fact that you can just put your Joy-Cons on the Switch or play with the Pro Controller and do it that way, because I don't think the controls work too bad like that with Civilization 6 on Switch. So that's why I prefer it to iOS, but both this and the iOS port of the game, they're pretty solid experiences, and if you're looking for something portable, they'd definitely be further up this list. So the port that I have ranked in third place is the PlayStation 4 port of the game. Now, there's lots of reasons that this is as high as it is, and there's lots of reasons why it could definitely have been lower, probably even bottom. So the PS4 and its numerous variations are clearly more powerful platforms than the Switch and obviously than iOS, which means visually the PS4 version of the game is far superior and it also runs smoother. So in that way, you're getting a better Civ experience on the PS4 than you would by playing your Switch docked, for example. The controls aren't too bad either. Again, the controls on Xbox, PS4 and Switch are all pretty solid with a controller. That's all you need to know. That they're all okay, they all work pretty well, and I for one have managed to adapt from PC to these sort of controls, so I don't think you should be worried. So it's got decent controls. But the big thing, apart from the visuals and the smoothness of Civ on the PS4, is that it does have online matchmaking. Now, whereas with the Switch and iOS, if you want to play multiplayer, then you need either to have a local LAN network, which a lot of people don't, to play with a friend, or you need to be doing hot seating. Although these options are obviously available with the PS4, you can just go online and play anybody from around the world. Well, I mean, apart from your friends. Because one of the biggest bugs on Civ 6 or PS4 is that the private match sort of matchmaking is buggered. You cannot play with your friends on this platform for some reason. It's been needing a patch for ages, and it's just not happened yet. Hopefully they patch it soon, but I don't know. So that is sort of the big drawback. So for everything the PS4 version of this game does well, just as with all the other ports, it's pretty much the full game, including online multiplayer on this occasion. For everything it does well, it's just got buggy as hell multiplayer, and there's lots of other bugs in the game, so that's why unfortunately it's not any higher, and sort of luckily for it, it could have been lower. In second place, it is the Xbox One port of this game. Now this, for me, is definitely the most solid port of Civilization 6. So, although it does have bugs like they all do, literally every port has bugs, this is a pretty solid game. I've put plenty of hours into this game, and yes, I've come across some really weird issues. Once I loaded up my Ottoman's playthrough and it was just a mess, but I just exited it, loaded it up again, and it was fine. Now what makes this so much better than the PS4 version is that it's generally less buggy. The online, for example, the matchmaking with friends and setting up private matches is not a problem on Xbox One. You can do it with ease, so that's fantastic. And a lot of people, if you buy Civ 6 and your friend buys Civ 6 on the same platform, obviously it's a fantastic thing that you want to be able to play with each other and play against each other on such a fantastic game. So, yeah, Civ 6 on Xbox One, it is pretty much the full experience apart from like the world builder. It functions relatively well. I've not run into any game-ending issues thus far, so a very good port that looks visually very good. In at number one then, it is the PC experience of Civilization 6, the original... Civilization 6 on PC is the original and the ultimate way to play Civilization 6, absolutely no doubt about that. So yeah, I mean, visually the game is absolutely stunning. If you've got a decent PC, you will definitely notice a big change in how the game runs and how the game looks on PC, because it is absolutely fantastic. Controls wise, PC is the best way to play. Mouse and keyboard, the ultimate way to play Civ 6. By far, it's just the best way, sir. That is absolutely fantastic. It's the only version with World Builder, which, although isn't anything major, a lot of people like it and would like it on other platforms, so if you want to get that, right now the only way to do that is on PC. And it's not as buggy, because Firaxis update this. So the ports to all the other platforms, so the iOS, Switch, Xbox and PS4, they were overlooked by Aspyr. Aspyr seemingly have moved on to a different project, which means that the ports aren't really getting updated. The PC version, however, is in the hands of the Firaxis team. The Firaxis team are pretty much totally devoted most of the time to Civ, or at least part of the team are totally devoted most of the time to Civ, so it's constantly updated, constantly patched, and it's just the best way to play Civ by quite a margin. Although I do love the ports, believe me, I'd recommend buying the ports on any platform if you want to try the game out, but the PC is the best experience, there's just no doubt about that. So that is my ranking number 5 to number 1, but there is one more thing I want to discuss in this video, and that's, if you've got the game on PC already, for example, which console should you actually look at getting the game on second? Now the ranking suggests go for the Xbox One, but I'm not necessarily sure that is always the best option, because if you've already got a PC, if you're sat in front of a screen, you're going to be playing Civ on that, but if you buy it on the Switch or iOS for platforms, I can't speak, then you're getting something different. You're getting to take the game wherever you want, you can take it on the go, and with cross-platform saves, I believe, on all of the platforms except PS4, having a game on the Switch and on PC means that you can let it rule your life no matter where you go. It's just something to consider, because although the ranking suggests the Switch and iOS versions of the game are the worst, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't consider getting it on Switch if you can, because it just adds more variety to the ways you can play the game. But obviously, you'll do what you want anyway, and I definitely recommend that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. If you have enjoyed, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to keep making Civ videos as regular as possible, at least once a week, and we'll continue to push on with the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Alex, and I will see you in another video soon.